Thank you very much, Shane. Just picture it for a moment. This is your first strata meeting of your new high-rise development. All of you have bought in, and this is what it means to live in a strata. You move in with strangers. They're all people you don't know. You may never have met them before. This might be the very first time you see their faces, and it's a common setting that we see across the province on a daily basis. I often tell people living in a strata is like living in a place with all of your in-laws together. So, people that you kind of get to know, not necessarily people you intended to live with, but when you move in together, you are going to share all of your joint liabilities together. You're welcome to go to the CHOA website anytime. There are over 400 different information guides about different parts of strata living that are available for the public. The GVHBA are also hosting this online, so there are a significant number of viewers online that are joining us as well. Again, this could be part of your very first strata meeting. I attend many meetings where people join by Skype or they're by conference call because they live around the world, and it's a normal part of how we live today. We hear the word consumer protection a lot, and I find that it's an interesting term that gets bantered around and misused, but the essence of consumer protection is, ask yourself this question: do I have all of the information I need before I make my decision? So do I know everything about this property before I make a decision? And there's so many ways that we can look at that. Do I know about all of the costs associated? Do I know what obligations I'm going to have in a condo? What my liabilities are going to be? Do I know all the information about any warranties or guarantees? Simple rule, get everything in writing. Print it. Keep your documents in a safe place. You may need them someday. But don't assume what someone has told you is necessarily accurate. Get it confirmed in writing as a follow-up piece of information. Another thing that's going to happen this year, in the fall of 2016, we're going to see a change in how we deal with disputes. We hear lots of crazy things in the press about condo living and bizarre things that happen around use of property and what happens at meetings. We'll have a new dispute resolution program later this year under the Civil Resolution Tribunal, which is going to provide very good, quick, inexpensive online access for people in strata corporations especially to resolve disputes, which I think is going to have a huge contribution to living in condos. So what does it mean to live in a condo? Well, when you buy into a condo, and we have all kinds of condos across the province. We have high-rises, mid-rises, we have low-rise units, townhouse units, bare land stratas. We have riding rings and marinas and airports that are strata-titled, storage lockers, apartments, hotels. Strata title is just a way of taking a space and creating a title to it so it can be bought or sold. We have leasehold property, but it basically means I'm now a joint owner. I am commonly sharing all of the use of the common property and the common facilities with all of my fellow owners. So here you could be tonight at your very first AGM making some decisions around approving budgets, about considering who's going to be elected to your strata council, how you're going to manage your property. That's the other thing about strata living. You elect a strata council. These people could be your strata council. They're all volunteers. Everyone is entitled to be able to represent their strata corporation. As owners, we share all of our common costs, all the obligations, and I think that's one of the great benefits that we get out of condo living, is that we get so much more than if we'd lived by ourselves independently in single-family homes. We get access to gyms and recreation facilities, swimming pools. Somebody else cleans the gutters and cuts the grass. We have better security. We have covered underground parking. We're not having to deal with the routine maintenance of our landscape. Gives us a lot more free time, and also gives us in time a growing community that we work with. Strata corporations are regulated by the Strata Property Act in British Columbia, and the Strata Property Act provides strata corporations with a set of standard bylaws. If you buy into a small strata, a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, the Strata Property Act and those standard bylaws automatically apply. They can be amended, they can be changed, and we have bylaws that deal with things like rentals, pets, age restriction, and of course, use of our strata lots. Here's a few little questions that people commonly ask, and I think if you're an investor, this is a common question. If I buy into an investment unit, am I going to be able to rent it out, Or is it possible that the strata can adopt a bylaw to prevent that from happening? Stratas are permitted to adopt rental bylaws. And bylaws can limit the number of rentals, prohibit them, they can set the period of time for them. But there are also some exemptions that are available under the legislation. So family members are restricted to children or parents of you or your spouse. The owner or the owner's spouse are automatically exempted from rental bylaws. There are hardship rentals if you get into a financially difficult situation, a job transfer for a period of time. The strata corporation has to give you an exemption. And then for buyers who are looking for investment units, new developments, we had changes in 2010 around rental disclosure. The developer, when they create a property, will file a document with the superintendent of real estate called a rental disclosure statement. That rental disclosure statement will identify strata lots in a new development, and it will exempt them for an extended period of time. So even though a strata may adopt a bylaw that limits rentals, your units in a new development could be exempt for 99 years or 200 years, and that would pass on to a subsequent purchaser. So if you're looking for investment property, that's something it's significant to look at. Repairs, I think one of the advantages, and I think this is one of the powers and strengths of strata living, is that we come together collectively, and through quantity of just simple ownership itself, we share the cost of repairing roofing, dealing with maintenance and repairs of building systems, elevators, our infrastructure of our buildings. It's the strata's responsibility to repair and maintain all of the common property. Owner's responsibilities, I repair and maintain my strata lot. I think one of the things that we have to be very aware of, though, no two stratas are created the same. Every strata has slightly different information, slightly different bylaws, slightly different conditions on use of property. So as a buyer and as an owner, you have to investigate what's possible. Are pets allowed? We have new legislation under the Guide Service Animal Act this year. So service animals that are certified assistance pets are automatically exempt from strata bylaws, but strata corporations can adopt bylaws that limit, restrict the number of pets. I look humorously a lot at strata bylaws, and one of the ones that I always have to chuckle about is the strata limits the number of caged mammals to a reasonable number. I'm never really sure what a reasonable number of caged mammals is, but we certainly see the boundaries pushed on that access sometimes. Pets are also something that are considered under the Human Rights Code, and that's one of the things that stratas need to think about, whether it's a bareland strata of 8 homes in a gated community somewhere or a high-rise building. The Human Rights Code in BC applies to strata corporations because strata corporations are their own public. So how you behave within your own community is also subject to complaints under the Human Rights Code. Building warranty is a critical part of new strata developments. I often say to strata corporations, you need to look at the value. What does the value of this warranty mean for me? And in a strata building, if we're looking at an apartment building, the warranty coverage is a maximum of $2.5 million or $100,000 a unit. When I look at that, that's a $2.5 million asset that I've invested into. And it's incumbent on the strata to make sure they follow the deadlines. As Wendy said earlier, file your documents, make your communication in writing with the developer and with the warranty providers. What happens if I can't pay my strata fees? Bad things happen. That's what happened. But invariably, strata corporations are like a simple form of government. They have to collect strata fees for operations, for long-term planning and savings, and if a person doesn't pay their strata fees, ultimately they risk losing their home, because that's the requirement of the strata corporation is they must collect strata fees. Another common question that we're seeing more often now is, what happens if I have an electric vehicle? Does the strata corporation have to provide me with a charging station in my building? And the strata corporation does not. It's not an obligation. It's certainly an option that the strata may consider if there are some grants or somebody's willing to pay the cover and the expenses. One of the benefits on new developments, though, is that we're starting to see charging stations installed in new developments, or at least wiring is available for the installation, and it minimizes the cost and the impact. Here's 5 quick tips for new and existing stratas. For a new strata, Always read the disclosure statement that the developer provides cover to cover. Look at all of the details. Do I have a rental disclosure that may provide me exemptions from rentals? Are there going to be limitations on use of property? Are there other things that may affect my property? For example, we could be one of 5 different stratas in one building because of airspace parcel agreements separating our property use. How do those affect our strata property? Read the bylaws of the strata. You'll be surprised what you'll see in the bylaws, but things that affect our daily use and lifestyle, rentals, pet, age, rental restrictions, parking, they all have a significant impact on not only on your use and enjoyment of property, but they have a significant impact on your investment in resale as well. Look at the financial information closely. Look at the strata's budget. We once had a bit of a tradition in the province around keep your strata fees low, it's easier to sell your property. I think everybody's realized that was the wrong idea. Your strata fees need to be what they are required so you can meet your obligations. However much money your strata needs to properly maintain and repair your property, that's where they need to be set at. And we certainly see no indication in the market that higher or lower strata fees influence the sale of properties themselves. Review the depreciation report. New piece of legislation back in 2013. We now have depreciation reports for stratas. They're a planning tool. They're an estimate of what a strata's major repairs and costs will be over the next 30 years. It's a great tool to look at when you're investing because it gives you a good idea when the major expenses are coming and how much they're going to cost. If you compare that with how much money the strata is saving, it gives you a pretty good idea when I'll be faced with special levies. And the last thing is read the minutes of the council meetings. Annual meetings of the Strata Corporation, look at them closely. And make sure the home fits your lifestyle. Many strata corporations now adopt bylaws around smoking prohibition, make smoke-free environments, and no smoking in strata lots. Those can apply to you as well. So, make your investment count for you, but read all of the documents, get everything in writing, and confirm anything that anybody said in writing. Thank you very much. Great.